class releases a book.
The USF Choir tours California.
And a group travels to USC for the first Spanish undergraduate research conference.
All this and more coming up next on College Week.
From the McDonald Center on the campus of the University of Sioux Falls, this is College Week with Sam Tastad, Hannah Olson, and Dakota Case with sports.
Good morning, I'm Sam Tastad.
And I'm Hannah Olson. Thanks for joining us. Well, Sam, here we are already Easter break, and it's our last break of the semester. Do you have any plans?
Unfortunately, I have to work, but it's going to be good to get a last break before the last semester ends.
Yep, it'll be nice.
Yeah. Well, this weekend, Easter break begins for students March 29th through April 1st. If you need to stay on campus during break, contact your resident director. Residence halls and campus buildings close Thursday at 5 p.m. They will reopen on Monday at 3 p.m. During the break, the cafeteria in Java City will be closed as well, and reopen Monday evening. Have a good Easter break and travel safely.
Well, the USF Art Department has started a service project in which students partner with Volunteers of America to help children find creative outlets. This opportunity is led by art professor Cisa Cooper and gives art majors the opportunity to teach art classes to adolescents who have been removed from their homes for various reasons. The art department plans to send 2 teams of students on Saturday afternoons and Monday evenings to teach class, which began March 23rd at the Volunteers of America Hessler Treatment Center. Volunteers of America is a nonprofit, spiritual-based organization that reaches out to empower people of all ages to become healthier, self-sufficient, and productive members of the community. To make a contribution to help art supplies for the service project, contact Cisa Cooper at cisa.cooper@usiouxfalls.edu.
Well, University of Sioux Falls students who enjoy learning languages will soon be able to benefit as a new minor is being offered. Starting next fall semester, USF will offer a world languages minor. In order to acquire the minor, students will need to earn 20 semester hours in world languages by studying at least two of the 3 languages offered, in which include Spanish, German, and ancient biblical Greek. Spanish courses will be able to do in the summer term to students who want to begin the minor before fall. For more details and information, contact Spanish professor Willie Suarez, Greek professor Dr. John Hagel, or German professor Dr. Rainey Nelson.
A well-known USF professor is celebrating after a decade of hard work. Theology professor Dr. John Hagel's book, Partnering with the King, is finally published and on the shelves. For more on the story, here's College Week's Jaden Miller.
Dr. John Hagel has spent the past decade laying out a 31-day devotional through the Gospel of Matthew, and was finally able to celebrate this past Tuesday with a book signing and sale at the USF bookstore. Intro to the Bible students and theology majors have been reading manuscripts of this book for years, but the 8x11 paper-bound copies used in class are finally a thing of the past. Junior Sierra Harder has read the book before and says she looks forward to giving copies out as gifts.
I bought a book for myself and then one for my little sister. It's her birthday coming up, and so I wanted her to have one because I loved it. And then the other one is for a friend who couldn't make it to the book signing today. She was really sad she had to miss it.
Partnering with the King emphasizes collaboration with Jesus as his disciples, and Harder explains how the devotional challenged her.
I think, it focuses so much on discipleship and how we as Christians need to have the mission of discipling others and not just being content with, oh, I'm a Christian, that's good enough. But I think it's really important as Christians to be able to share our faith with others, and I feel like this really focuses on that.
Dr. Hagel is not the only one who is excited about his accomplishment, as students like junior Tyler Spildy also celebrated during the book signing.
Well, we're making John Hagel rookie trading cards. We didn't have time for stats on the back, though.
For those who missed the $12 price on the day of the book signing, Partnering with the King is available in the USF bookstore at the regular price of $17. For USF College Week, I'm Jaden Miller.
The University of Sioux Falls choir team went to California during spring break. Not only was this trip for singing, but there was some opportunities for service projects as well. College Week's Joey Russo has more on the story.
USF's flagship choir went on their first ever domestic tour over spring break by traveling to California, participating in church concerts and high school chapel services throughout the Los Angeles and San Diego areas. However, it wasn't all singing during the trip. Many opportunities to sightsee and explore California's attractions were given to the students, with highlights being Disneyland, California Adventure, and the beaches. The choir, as a whole, also worked on 2 service projects during the trip, with one being at the Earthworks Farm in LA and the other cleaning up Mission Beach in San Diego. Haley Hagerstone of the Surfrider Foundation says the choir's contribution to cleaning up Mission Beach was greatly appreciated.
I just had an incredible group come out and lend a hand to make Mission Beach in San Diego a little more beautiful than we found it. Collected 95 pounds of garbage in under 2 hours.
Even with the opportunities to perform and serve others during the trip, students were glad to see other choirs putting their musical skills to good use. Laura Wilson, a junior nursing major, and Anna Barcher, a junior music education major, both enjoyed listening to a high school choir use their talents to worship God.
I think what really impacted us today was the high school's performance, because it was so beautiful, and it wasn't even about how good they were, but about how they were praising and worshiping. It was really awesome.
Yeah, it was so peachy. Like, their hearts were so in it. Like, I saw a couple of them just having their eyes closed, just worshipful, and when they held hands, that was pretty sweet.
The spring break tour wasn't the only performance for the choir this semester. Come see them at their upcoming performances in April and May at the Masterworks Concert and Jazz at Java. For College Week, I'm Joey Russo.
Well, coming up next, some Sioux Falls citizens petition against an indoor aquatic center.
Don't go away.
Welcome back. A group of Sioux Falls residents have collected almost 7,500 signatures opposing an indoor aquatic center at Spellerberg Park, which is just a few blocks west of USF. The group, which is called Save Spellerberg, has collected signatures for the past 6 months and has turned them into the city to put the issue to a public vote. The group's goal is to replace the current aging outdoor pool with a new outdoor pool and eliminate the park as an option for an indoor facility. While the group is not opposing an indoor aquatic center, they feel the Spellerberg Park is not the right location, as it would cause parking and traffic issues, as well as eliminate the park's green spaces. Well, Sam, I wonder how, if they did put an indoor aquatic center, how would that affect the snow sledding hill? I don't know.
Yeah, this winter when I would drive past, there was always a lot of kids out there sledding.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I wonder how it would affect that. I don't know. But
well, Hannah, you had the opportunity to go to USD to go to a Spanish undergraduate conference. How was that?
I did, yeah. It was really cool. We here at USF, we've had undergraduate research conferences. So, presenting, on a research papers and stuff is not foreign to a lot of us here at USF. But presenting in a different language isn't something that we see every day. Yeah. But that may change thanks to this conference that took place totally in Spanish. The first undergraduate research conference, hosted by the University of South Dakota in Vermilion, brought 27 student presenters from 7 schools together to share their academic research. Not only were students' research papers written in Spanish, all the presentations were also entirely in Spanish. 4 Spanish students from USF, Stephen Slaybaugh, Samantha Cook, Caitlin Vance, and Caitlin Rooney, presented their work at the conference. Spanish cultural advisor at USF, Ronald Ana Luisa, says speaking in front of an audience is an important experience for the students.
One of the key parts, I would say very, very important, because unless you go into an environment where you can actually talk and you need to talk, you feel like you have that need, you would still be kind of afraid to, pronounce or speak or even, listen. But I think that was another very big part of the conference, that everyone was kind of forced, you could say, to speak it or at least listen.
The conference gave students a chance to exercise their skills and present what they have learned. Buena Vista University junior Laura Page says the event also offers an opportunity to learn about Spanish culture.
There's so much to learn, and when you grow up in the U.S., you're learning a lot of culture, but not necessarily from Spanish-speaking countries. So, you start learning about it once you get a little bit of a Spanish grammar background, and then, you just barely scratch the surface.
Stephen Mills is an associate professor of Spanish at Buena Vista University. Mills says presenting in Spanish emphasizes the cultural experience.
Not only are they intellectually connected with their majors and their fields, but they're doing it in another language. Anybody can get up and talk about Malinche and the traditions behind Malinche, but doing it in the native language shows another ability that not all students have, and it shows their success and their excellence in that field, as well as their ability to connect with the history, the culture, and the context.
For students who are still working on their fluency, events like the Spanish Undergraduate Research Conference provides an environment for students to learn and be encouraged to continue working on their Spanish speaking and comprehension skills. While USF Associate Professor of Spanish Willie Cerez led a group of almost a dozen students who also traveled to the conference along with the 4 presenters.
And well, as the opportunities for students learning other languages are growing, at USF College Weeks, Julia Iverson takes a look at one group of students that are going outside the classroom.
The University of Sioux Falls offers a number of foreign languages for students to study. Korean, however, is not one of them. This fact hasn't stopped a group of students from meeting with Korean study abroad student Sari Yoon in hopes of learning a language we don't hear every day. One of these disciplined students is junior Sam Cook, who says learning Korean has been beneficial to her career and life goals.
I'm interested in Korean because I actually want to go overseas after I graduate and teach English in Korea. I'm interested in teaching in elementary schools or high schools, so the opportunity to learn or start to learn the language was really influential because it's a difficult language to learn. I'm an English major, so it honestly really helps me understand a lot of what I'm learning in my English classes, in being able to tell the different types of speech in another language. It's been really cool. I really like it.
This ambitious group gathers every morning to learn from Sari's teaching. When asked if her pupils were making progress, Sari says they are working hard daily and always wanting to know more.
Yeah, I think so. Because our students who learning Korean want to learn more, and they usually they daily practice to write and read and speak Korean.
Sari encourages everyone to join as she shares a part of her culture here on campus. The Korean learners will meet until the end of the semester. For College Week, I'm Julia Iverson.
Coming up next, Dylan Dwyer sits down with a USF athlete on Java Talk.
Thanks, don't go away.
Good morning, and welcome to another edition of The Morning Brew. I'm your host, Dylan Dwyer, and with me today I have USF junior Michael Vine. Good morning, Michael. How are you doing today?
Good, DY. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for being here with us. So I think I may have heard a little bit of an accent there. Tell us where that accent's from.
It's from Australia, Sydney to be specific.
Australia, huh? Tell us a little bit about how you came from Australia all the way to Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Baseball is a big reason why I moved here, and I spent a couple of years in Iowa before I came here. And then I knew a couple of people from Sioux Falls from my old college, and yeah, they just got me to come over here.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your experience in Iowa and how different it was going from a new country in Australia all the way over to the United States.
I was in for a big shock, not just because it's a new country and all, but the size of the town was considerably small compared to what I was used to. So that was a big change, and then once the first winter hit, that was probably the biggest shock that I've had since living here.
I was going to mention that one of the biggest differences is you had to walk through some snow to get here today, and in Australia that's usually not the case. So how have you enjoyed the winter here in America so far?
My first ever snowfall I was excited for about a week. Since then, I haven't had any joy from it at all.
Well, that's a lot of people's reaction to it. Now, as far as snow goes, it is not usually very good baseball weather. And you came to USF to play baseball. Tell us a little bit how that has been for you.
There's another big shock is having to train inside all winter. I'm used to playing all year round outside in nice weather. So that's a big thing, you know, not being able to throw longer and not being able to get better reads off the bat and whatnot. It's kind of annoying.
Right, and that makes a lot of sense. Another weather issue, how is driving around and getting to all the new places to eat and everything in America?
I try and drive as little as I can.
On the wrong side of the road, right?
And the wrong side of the car.
As far as food goes, I know that you have some very interesting tastes, Vegemite. What other stuff do you enjoy to bring over from Australia here?
Spaghetti bolognese is a big Italian dish that's very popular in Australia. Unfortunately, I can't cook that, but I'll be seeing my family in a week in Cali, and they hope to teach me how to cook it so I can cook it for my American friends here.
What will you be doing in California to see your family?
Playing baseball there, actually.
Right, spring break, they're taking a trip to California. So what are some of your goals for this season as far as a USF baseball player?
Well, first of all, I need to get healthy before I get out there on the field, and then just keeping my starting position, improving myself to everyone, and just contributing as much as a team as I can.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the injury you've had so far and what position you play for the USF baseball team?
I play shortstop, and about 5 weeks ago, I took a fastball to the hand and broke my metacarpal. And then 2 days after I got cleared for that, I fell off the last 2 stairs in my house and strained my ligament and a little bit of tissue damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is not very good luck. So we hope you get healthy. As far as your schooling, how has the school system been different here as opposed to in Australia?
I find it slightly easy here. I find the work that I do here in university is about equivalent to the work that I did in my last year of high school and my first year of university in Australia. However, it's a lot different to my community college that was about equivalent to year 8, year 9 work. So.
I know that you are a biology major. Why don't you tell me a little bit about where you plan to go with that in your career?
I was a pre-medicine major before I came here, but some difficulties arose and I had to switch my major. So I still plan on going down a medical path.
Nice. Do you plan on staying in America later on? Do you plan on going back to Australia? What's your plans as far as traveling?
Just whatever opportunities arise, really. Preferably, I'd like to move back to the warm, all-round years of Australia, but we'll see what happens.
I'm guessing one of the main reasons you love Australia so much is the kangaroos and koalas. Is that right?
No, that's not right. But I mean, they are kind of cute and fun to watch, I guess.
Do you see those very frequently at all? We don't have no idea.
No, not where I'm from. They kind of get scared by the big city lights and all the cars and highways and whatnot, so they tend to stick to the countryside.
So what's one of the biggest differences in Australia than around here? Because that sounds pretty similar to around here.
Mannerisms is a huge difference, actually. The way we say hello and goodbye, especially between males and females, it's quite different. For instance, we would go up and kiss and hug our females, but as I learned my freshman year, that's not the case here. So
that's usually correct. Last question here. What are your biggest plans here in the United States before you head back to Australia?
Just like I said, prove myself in baseball. That's what I'm here for, and just to continue on as much with that as I can.
Very good. There you have it, folks. This has been the Morning Brew. With me is Michael Vine. Thanks for being here today.
Not a problem.
Cheers. Back to sports.
All right, now we go to sports with Dakota Case.
Dakota, the March Madness Sweet 16 wraps starts again tonight, but you said the real March Madness doesn't start this weekend.
That's right. The Frozen Four tournament begins tomorrow with the first round. It's a 16-team tournament, and it's looking like it's going to be a really good tournament. So that's the real March Madness. But we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. As spring warms up, so are the USF baseball and softball teams. Yesterday, the USF baseball team defeated former GPAC foe Briar Cliff 13-5. Freshman Trevor Crow went 5 for 6 and drove in 2 runs to lead the Cougars. The Cougars improved to 5-13 with the win and play at home this weekend against Minnesota Duluth. Wednesday, the USF softball team played their first home games this season at Bob Young Field against Southwest Minnesota State. The Cougars split the twin bill, winning 9-0 and losing 4-3. Junior Bailey Bowman picked up the lone win for the Cougars, tossing 5 strikeouts on 4 hits and 0 runs in 7 innings. Weather permitting, USF travels to Minot State and Mary this weekend, off the diamond and onto the ice. March Madness for NCAA teams around the country gets underway this weekend as the Frozen Four men's tournament begins. Of 16 teams in the tournament, 12 will have former Sioux Falls Stampede players vying for the Division I National Championship. Former Stampede and Quinnipiac goaltender Eric Hartzell is having a stellar season. Hartzell is a Hobie Baker Award finalist for the top NCAA Men's Ice Hockey Player Award, and his team will face against Canisius this weekend. The Frozen Four will wrap up with the NCAA Division I Men's Hockey National Championship on April 13th at the Pittsburgh Penguins Consol Energy Center. From the ice to the hardwood, the USF women's basketball team wrapped up their first season in Division II. With more on the story, here's College Week's Sam Tastad.
The University of Sioux Falls women's basketball team finished their first season in Division II with a record of 13-14. And junior forward Laura Johnson says the team has a bright future.
I feel like we have lost a lot of close games that we probably could have won, so it's kind of frustrating to be 500. Even though it is our first year in D2, I feel like we have a lot more potential than we've shown.
While the Cougars did end up just below 500, head coach Travis Traphagen says the record doesn't show how competitive they really were.
If you looked at our scores this year, we've had probably 3 games that we maybe didn't play very well, where the teams just, just flat out beat us. But I mean, the number of games that we've played that probably within the last 5 minutes of the game is a tie basketball game or within 3 or 4. But again, championship level teams make all those little plays.
Johnson led the team in most statistical categories, including points, but she and Traphagen acknowledged the whole team for stepping up when needed.
Now that teams are kind of on to me, I don't get as many looks, and it's been kind of harder for me to score. But that's been okay because more of my teammates have stepped up and taken some of the scoring away.
I just think, we're one of those teams, it's a team effort. When we're going to win basketball games, we can't rely just on one kid. We got to be able to have that second, third, and fourth scores at times.
I'd pick out like JC and Alyssa Rushton. They've both stepped up big and started scoring more, which has taken a lot of pressure off me.
The Cougars will only be losing 3 players from this team, and Traphagen says there are plenty of lessons learned this season.
We really strive to tell our kids each and every play in a basketball game is so important. Even if you don't think that this turnover is that big a deal at this situation, when we've played as many games as we have that close, I think our kids hopefully are starting to understand that you can't take any plays off, and you really need to value the basketball each and every possession.
The USF women's basketball team has a bright future. They made it to the NSIC tournament, but they lost in the first round, unfortunately. But next year, hopefully they'll make it farther.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, from sports to all kinds of campus activities, there's always something going on. But the student body has also recently found a new form of entertainment, Donkey Kong.
2 years ago, Chris Hall, a former student at USF, brought to campus a multi-cade machine. One of the more popular games in the machine is Donkey Kong. Josh Green, a sophomore and Donkey Kong high scorer, says he is happy about winning the high score.
Yeah, but then eventually I got to 123, and then one day I got 156, and I was like, oh, this is in my grasp. This high score is only 2 levels away, and then eventually one day I was just having a really good game of Donkey Kong. I hadn't lost any lives, and eventually over the course of the game I got to 211,000, and I was super excited about it.
Yeah. And the game called Donkey Kong is an arcade game made back in 1982 about the main character, later to be known as Mario. He climbs up a ladder and dodges barrels in order to save the princess from the evil ape, Donkey Kong.
Have you ever played the multi-cade machine?
I have not, no. I need to take some time and do it sometime.
Yeah, I haven't either. I should too.
Yeah, sounds like fun. So Dakota, what can we expect next week in sports?
Well, we've got some spring ball coming up, and we've also got some new coaching staff for the football team there, and some new transfer students that are kind of learning the ropes here in the USF football system. So, we've got we'll have a lot more coming up next week, and we all know that Thomas does a good job with that.
Nice. Sounds good.
Another edition of USF College Week. I'm Sam Tastad.
And I'm Hannah Olson. Have a great day.